an extension of that, hey, this is what to expect. This is the perceived timeline. Whether or not you're a first-time home buyer or, you've bought 3 or 4 homes, they don't do this every day. We do. So that's something to definitely bear in mind.
I love you, Murray, but from a distance.
That's good. That's fine for us to be at a distance.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Real-tor Talk. Jesse Carlson here, and on a far distant away from me today is...
Murray Zolkowski.
Murray, how are you doing today?
It's been a rough week. Been pretty sick all week, so Jesse and I are staying away from each other so I don't pass this on to anyone. Today's the first day I can actually breathe, so that's great. And it's non-COVID, but man, it was bad. It might have been as bad as COVID, but it was a rough week. But that's okay. I'm back up and moving, so we're good to go.
And you know what, especially this time of year, and we're going to get into it even more, I think, with, a reminder, and I try to tell my kids, remember what we just went through. Like, we've got to keep washing those hands, kids. We've got to cough in here because especially this time of year, we want to be able to see our loved ones, and especially those people that are affected a little bit more. And even if you're not testing positive, you could get on something that's a simple cold for you and I, and you don't want to give it to grandma or someone younger that could, handle a little bit differently. So I love you, Murray, but from a distance today.
That's good. That's fine for us to be at a distance. It's okay.
Good stuff. Well, we got a great show today. We've got a fantastic lawyer that we're going to discuss some things about. Obviously, like we always talk about here on Real-tor Talk, we want to be a reliable source for home ownership and everything that comes into it. And if you're looking to sell or buy, a lot of questions come to Murray and I about, I don't have a lawyer. Who should I go to? There's so many lawyers. That's right. But we want to hook you up with a great one that we're going to have later on in the show. So stay tuned to that. But Murray, as we always like to do, we like to support local. And today is a very special one.
Yeah, today we're talking about the L'Arche Tova Cafe in Transcona. It's located at 119 Regent Avenue West. Jesse picked up some cinnamon buns from there. I've already tried some. Unfortunately, I didn't wait.
Murray, check this out.
Oh, he's missing half.
I've already ate one of mine in the car. And the great thing is that you can get them grilled there. So if it's to go, you can get them grilled. Yeah. These are look at my head. Well, my ears are big normally, but look at it. They're fantastic. Murray, they do great things, don't they?
So yeah, it's a great place. You can get, full breakfast menu and that there. It's really good. I've been into the restaurant itself, but one of the things they do there is they help people with disabilities, they actually employ them and help them interact with the general public and give them some meaningful work. And it helps build great relationships with the public for them and helps expose them to people and making them vital to society. And that's huge. That is very huge. And it's awesome that they do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time myself and my family have gone there, it's just such a warm welcoming and just an absolute great time. And, you're leaving with a great feeling as well, helping out people. And actually, so this episode's coming out on Friday. What is this, December 2nd?
Yep.
December 2nd. When December comes, I lose all track of what day it is. But coming up,
my bank accounts in December. Everything else is just
yeah, exactly. Coming up on December 14th, there's the Songs of Christmas Music Night fundraiser, and this is connected with the cafe. It's a fundraiser, December 14th at 7:00 at the Blessed Sacrament Church in Transcona. So you can get tickets at the cafe on Regent. Murray told you about the address. We'll also link that in the description below. We'll also tag them. So if you want tickets are only $15, and it's a fantastic fundraiser, especially this time of year. I love our city and surrounding communities, how people give back and people come together, and that's especially this time of year, right? So go check out the Songs of Christmas Music Night fundraiser. So that's fantastic. And their cinnamon buns.
Should be good. Yeah, check their cinnamon buns. Again, that was L'Arche Tova Cafe in Transcona at 119 Regent Avenue West, guys. Go check them out. You won't be disappointed. And it's a good place to support. Okay? So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Because it's breakfast, we're filming this Friday morning, so that's why we have no beer. We have cinnamon buns.
Okay, no, the only reason we don't have beer is because I'm sick, or else I would be having beer.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe a hot toddy later.
Maybe. We'll see. I got the Jets game later, so we'll see.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's dive into the show. I'm so excited about our guest. It's somebody that I have used personally It is somebody that I have used with my clients. It is somebody that has so much knowledge. And so let's dive right into it. Murray, welcome today's guest, please.
Okay, we're going to welcome in Sara Castellano, and let's go. It always takes a second. There we go. Oh, we got a picture, but
she's a real person, and there she is.
Oh, yay!
Hey, it's just that delay, right? That just
right when you enter the room, right?
That's right, absolutely. Sara, thank you so much for joining us today. We know that you're very busy, even busy this time of year. I know for us real estate, it's not as busy as time when it comes to maybe possessions and stuff like that, but always busy for yourself, right?
Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting. Like there's always a bit of a lag within when agents are busy, the real estate lawyers are kind of busy and a bit of a lag of a couple weeks and whatnot. So, we're still doing transactions and deals that maybe, some agents have done a month or two or perhaps 3 months ago, but also it's refinance season. So a lot of real estate lawyers are busy with that around this time as well. So, yeah.
I'm going off script here. I didn't know you were going to do this. I like this.
Yeah.
Can we start off with that as you just mentioned that?
Sure, absolutely. What do you want to know? Just how refinances kind of are coming into effect at this time?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people with the way that the interest rates have gone and everything like that, you're the person to ask about that.
Yeah, I have to say I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised. I know all of us kind of weren't really sure what to expect and whatnot, particularly with the wave of COVID and how crazy real estate was. And, none of us in the real estate industry really got a break for a solid 2 years. It was just constant. But now, we're headed into our less busy season, right? Usually between now and springtime, it's no secret that, a lot of people tend to hibernate, as Winnipeggers do at this time of year. So generally less busy, but like I said, the last few years, it's just been constant all year round. But interestingly enough, it didn't dip off as much as I thought it was going to. So I'm not saying it's as crazy as it was, mid-July or August or, even September was surprisingly busy. But with that being said, it's also not as slow as I was anticipating. So as much as, the media and everything's portraying that, the real estate market is at a halt and, don't buy or don't sell, I really think it's quite the opposite. I think a lot of people are seeing some wonderful opportunities and I'm seeing a lot of clients benefit from it firsthand. So definitely a lot of more transactions than I was originally anticipating with the interest rate. So combination of selling, purchasing, it's still happening. And a combination of refinances, as I said, a lot of people are it's time and it's due and what can you do?
Yeah, and just to touch when you were saying about like the media and how they've kind of been talking about things lately, I think that's one great thing that you can come on and why Murray and I are here. And it's funny, it's kind of ironic, 12 plus years in the media myself, and now sometimes I say don't listen to them because it's reliable sources. Come to the people that actually know what's going on. And unfortunately, and I'm not putting down anybody connected to the Winnipeg media here, any of my friends, don't get mad at me. But a lot of the times when we listen to local radio or even local television, they are still talking about the bigger cities because that's where those stats come from. So it's great if you ever have questions, guys out there, ask Murray and I or even Sara to get a Winnipeg update and exactly what's happening in this city. So Sara, just let's dive into a little bit where things are going to pick up more in the new year or even during the winter where someone is looking to buy or sell. Okay. I sometimes have clients that say, oh, I don't have a lawyer. You just put the for sale sign. What are we going to do? I'm panicking, all this other stuff. Relax. And what maybe should people be thinking about if they're about to be buying or selling when it comes to coming to talk to you?
Absolutely. So, and I definitely appreciate that, right? There's so much to think about. It can be quite overwhelming, but that's why I think it's so important to work with a real estate professional because they specifically help you navigate all those things. And definitely when I've seen clients, navigate it or try to on their own or even privately, it doesn't go so well. So I definitely think that number one, that's where you guys come in. You guys help them manage and navigate, as a real estate professional. But number one, I don't really get involved until after the transaction's completed. So, once that offer to purchase is firm and it's sent over to me, that's when my work really starts. And even so, if it's on a condo, my work really doesn't start until the cooling off period has completed. So until it's a firm deal, that means conditions are satisfied, everything's good to go. That's when I really step in. And from there, what I always say to clients is, once I get that firm offer to purchase, the very first thing we do is we reach out to them directly, notifying them, hey, we've received the offer. These are the next steps you can anticipate. And what my office does in particular is open up the file, make that connection, and send out an introduction email, which outlines and communicates the next step. So they're not stuck wondering. I think that's a big thing in our industry is communication. And I know both of you are big on that with your clients, as am I. And I'd love to be an extension of that, hey, this is what to expect. This is the perceived timeline, whether or not you're a first-time home buyer or, you've bought 3 or 4 homes. They don't do this every day. We do. So that's something to definitely bear in mind.
Yeah. And that's, I know, and Murray, we're kind of the same way when you talk about that is I usually tell people, look, you've sold your house, but you don't have to worry about that. First of all, the one great thing about using a realtor is we're going to take care of everything. We're going to put together here at Royal LePage Prime, we're going to put together a package that we're going to send off to the lawyer. You don't have to worry about a thing. I have clients sometimes, Murray, you might echo it the same thing. Well, I'm going to call my lawyer and tell him that I've sold the house. Actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, you don't want to hear from them yet.
Yeah, it's so
right?
true. Yeah.
You really don't need him because I just used you this past summer. I mean, really, you don't need to see us until about 2 weeks before?
Exactly. And that's just it. So, and too, if they call me and I'm fine, sometimes people just want that reassurance, talk things through. But essentially, I always just say, once I receive the offer, then we'll take it from there. Right. Definitely it's helpful when they have, like I said, real estate professionals like yourself that are sending all those documents and dealing with the nitty gritty and the little behind the scenes that people often don't even think about or anticipate.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing we'd like to talk about with you, Sarah, is title insurance. And this has been something that's saved one of my clients when I was in the rental world, saved them big time. And it's also saved me on one of the properties that I sold years ago where the fence was actually encroaching CN's property. And it was gonna be like $5,000 or something like that, but we had title insurance, so we got our money and we got to go away. And the people never ever moved the fence, but whatever. So I just like you to explain to people what title insurance does for them and kind of maybe the cost, if you can, associate with it, so they understand what they're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Title insurance is a big one, especially it's become increasingly popular. So it's always interesting when I have clients in my office and they're like, I bought a house 20 years ago. And they're like, I never had to get this title insurance thing. And I'm like, well, let me tell you why. So I think title insurance is absolutely critical. It makes no difference to your lawyer whether or not, you get it. We don't benefit in any way. There's no kickback, anything like that. It's simply, we just give you the, all of the information. What I do is I spend probably a solid 5 minutes of the portion of my meeting where I'm sitting down with my clients, indicating this is what title insurance is. So essentially, title insurance, I always say, instead of getting an updated survey certificate or zoning memorandum, because often with used residential properties, or even with a lot of new builds now, you're not getting them. They're either out of date or they don't exist. So in the alternative, we get title insurance. So title insurance covers you for things like building code deficiencies, encroachments, permit issues, etc. So, exactly what you said and the example that you gave there, Murray, is, sometimes I'll be in meetings and clients go, hey, yes, we had a neighbor's friend that had to deal with that, or a cousin or whatever. And I always just say, just like any good insurance, you get it with the intention of never using it, but better safe than sorry, especially when you're making a large purchase such as a home. You might as well put it on your tab at that point. It's very nominal, in my opinion. It depends on the purchase price, but generally I would say any home that's under $500,000, generally title insurance is around the $300 mark. So quite reasonable in the grand scheme of things. One thing to note as well is there's a few different title insurance companies in Manitoba. All of them offer a different amount of coverage, but generally we're starting to see all of them are kind of about the same, getting on the, on the same board or same level, so to speak. So, FCT is one, First Canadian Title Insurance, Stuart Title is one. That's who my office particularly uses. So depending on the circumstance and stuff, or what the lender's requesting, because another thing to note with title insurance is some lenders are actually requiring that their clients use or that they close using title insurance. A lot of lawyers also use title insurance in order to expedite the process, exchange funds quicker and faster, which everyone loves to hear. That means that as a purchaser, you're paying, less daily interest to the other side. And as a seller, you're getting your money a lot faster. So my office, in particular, we're all real estate firm. We use different efficiencies. One of those efficiencies is using title insurance for almost all of our transactions. After I explain what title insurance is, of course, clients always have the option. In some circumstances, their lender voluntells them, so to speak. So I always say, but there are some circumstances where we can go back and, ask and say, hey, the client doesn't want it for this reason, etc. But generally, I will say 99% of my clients, even if they're not using a lender, it's a cash deal, they will get title insurance. And I don't blame them. I think it's a extra layer of protection, and it protects their interests, protects their lender's interests, protects, just them, gives that extra protection that I think is warranted when you're purchasing a property.
So can I shoot an example? Because I love, one great thing that how we can connect with people, Murray and I, through this channel, and when we bring on our guests as well, is give examples that we deal with. So I'm going to throw this one out to you. I'm going to put you on the spot. I didn't send you this one.
Okay.
But one that I see a lot, okay, we as realtors, we pull title before when we go to list a house. We ask the homeowners about, their fence lines, their property lines, garages, eaves, trough, all that stuff. Let's say a buyer moves into the property, okay? Then they go to either replace the fence or put in a garage or anything like that, and they find out that either the fence that's there now or the downspouts or anything like that is over the property line, or there is that encroachment that could cause a situation. Are they calling you right away? I mean, they can also call us right away, and we probably would say you probably contact your lawyer, but is that a situation that they would contact you about?
So it's really interesting. And, and that's something that I go over in my meeting is that, I'm going to order you the policy. But a lot of these title insurance companies, they actually have their own internal counsel and lawyer. So rather than paying, someone like myself or another legal counsel to act on your behalf with respect to the title insurance, you can actually contact them directly. It's really helpful. They have some great websites, great resources. I even have brochures here at my office. And it's pretty wonderful in the sense that you can contact them, reach out. They'll ask you what happened, what's going on, what are your needs, etc. You'll submit some documentation to them. So things like the offer to purchase, seeing if it was disclosed, etc. And then from there, then a representative from the title insurance company, will say, yes, this is covered or it's not covered, or, this is something that you don't have to, worry about or something like that. I find sometimes clients get confused as well with title insurance. That's why I always try to give good examples. For example, I say, let's say previous owner built a deck, didn't take out a proper permit. City of Winnipeg knocks on your door, says, what the heck? Where did this deck come from? You need to knock it down. You can say it wasn't me, and you can make a title insurance claim. The distinguishing factor that I try to explain to clients is you don't want to go looking for problems. Title insurance is there if problems find you, right? Yeah. So don't poke the bear, so to speak. So, if something's been there for, 35 years, is it more of an issue or less of an issue? I'd say less. But with that being said, I think it's definitely warranted. One of those things that you definitely want to get. And every lawyer will give you your title insurance policy along with your final report. So once we complete everything, clients always get a final report, a summary of everything, all their required documentation. It's absolutely very important that you keep that. Now my office has gone ahead and emailed those to clients rather than giving physical copies. That way we can always make reference to them. So I always say at the meeting, you're going to get a copy of your title insurance. So if you ever need to make a claim, you know exactly where to go, who to ask, and who to contact. But often they panic anyway, and they'll contact their agent or their lawyer, which is no problem at all.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because when those things happen, people don't know, even though you might have told them 6 months ago, or maybe Murray told them 6 months ago at the closing, they don't know where to go. They don't know who to contact, and they contact us first, which is fantastic. We're always here months and years after possession, but we also don't want to take up too much of your time. So I appreciate you, letting us know that if those situations happen, there's actually another person to contact. Yeah. Murray, have you ever ran into those situations? I know through your contractor years and everything that when it comes to encroachments and what can people do and stuff.
You know, we didn't run into encroachments as much as anything. It was the major one that I ran into with a client was we were in finishing her rec room, and there was already a bedroom down there and a bathroom that was done by the previous owners, and they were not permitted. So when we pulled our permits, the city came in, did their inspection, and like, what's that? I'm like, it's a bathroom. And they're like, yeah, that's not permitted. It's got to be done. And so her bill was $60,000 by the time we were said and done with fixing everything that had to be fixed by the owner that was a DIYer that wasn't a DIYer. And we had to fix all that stuff and bring it all up to today's code. So that's the other thing they have to keep in mind. It's not just fixing it to the code of 1980, it's fixing it to the code of today. And sometimes that's pretty out there for a repair. So the insurance company covered it all. And there was no questions from them. I got to tell you, they were super easy to deal with. I did most of the dealing with them for the clients. And it was way easier than dealing with your home insurance or anything. They were really giving to just get it done and make sure it worked for the client. So it was awesome, but it saved her a ton. Like she couldn't have done the project. Literally, we would have been capping things off and just saying, sorry, your basement's going to sit. So,
well, yeah. And I think that's something too, right? Is, people ask like, have you seen that? I'm like, I have, I've seen them pay out. I've also seen, some people that call me up and be like, oh, my refrigerator stopped working and does title insurance cover that? And I'm like, that's not the type of thing that it covers, right? So it's important to make that distinguishing factor as well. But definitely it's stories like that it's like for, a nominal fee of, a couple $100 at that point, I think it's a no-brainer. Absolutely.
Even the one I dealt personally with my fence, it was super simple. I didn't have to do anything. Literally, I phoned my lawyer because they were holding back money, and my lawyer's like, well, you have title insurance. I didn't even know I had title insurance. He just put it on there, and I'm like, yeah, here's your bill, paid him, right? And whatever. And I was, I don't know, like 25 or 26. So I wasn't really paying attention anyways. And I just signed it. And then literally by the end of the day, I had all my money because he's like, no, you have title insurance. So the lawyers just dealt with it at that point, and it was
perfect.
Well, I'm happy, Sarah, that you brought up appliances, because earlier this week, my microwave was not heating up things. I was going to call you, my lawyer. I was going to say, what do? I just moved in August. I can't heat up my macaroni and cheese from the day before.
Did you install it?
No, I didn't install it.
I was just wondering if your basement flooded from the fridge line yet. So
no, that is still Arctic cold water, thanks to the water line that I put in. And those ice cubes, even my dog loves those things. Anyways, okay. You know what? Last before we let you go, Sarah, I know there's a time that we get to deal with clients, and that's why we're here, to really help people out at tough times as well. There are situations that sometimes people have to take on power of attorney.
Yeah.
Either a loved one has either passed away, maybe they've put them into a senior's home, and they have to take over these things. Can we just briefly, before we let you go, just talk about that? If there's people out there that are maybe thinking about, maybe I'm going to need to do that soon.
Absolutely. Although I know it's uncomfortable and difficult for a lot of people to talk about and consider, first, I think with power of attorney, it's important to distinguish. I often have clients that are very confused between the difference between, will and power of attorney. So sometimes people, will say, oh, well, I have power of attorney, but then they send me a will. So those are two different things. A will is, someone's wishes and can go and be probated before the court when someone passes away. And then that person is designated as the executor. So they basically would have the authority to sell the property, do everything. Power of attorney is basically, there's a few different types of power of attorney. Definitely easier to have sooner than later, because if somebody's not of sound mind or of a certain capacity, your lawyer will not be able to actually put a power of attorney in place. And then you have to go into committeeship and through the courts, and it's just a little bit more onerous, the same way if somebody passes away without a will, right? So definitely uncomfortable things to think about, but important things to think about. With respect to a power of attorney, I think the biggest thing that I'd like to flag is with respect to the power of attorney has to explicitly state that that particular individual has the authority to dispense and sell property. Because I've seen some power of attorneys, and it can be quite disappointing to some clients when, hey, I'm ready to sell, etc. First thing that agent should be doing is looking at that power of attorney. I'm always happy to double check them and make sure that they have the clause that we're looking for. because nothing would be worse than selling the property and then realizing, oh my goodness, I don't even have the authority or the capacity to do so because my power of attorney doesn't explicitly state that. So definitely something that when you are drafting your power of attorney, making sure that it encompasses all of those things. Financial matters is always the thing that comes to mind, but selling and purchasing property and all of that, you want to make sure that you have someone that is able to do so on your behalf. And then same with an estate matter, if somebody was to pass away and they don't have anyone as a joint tenant or a spouse on the property that, it automatically goes to, then same thing, the will has to be probated through the court in order for their executor to sell the property on their behalf. And I think that's something that is definitely I think surprising to a lot of individuals. I know it's a lot going on, especially when you have a unfortunate member of your family pass away. But I think the surprising factor is that probate can actually take quite a few weeks. I've seen it take even up to a few months. So definitely can be onerous and something that you want to get on sooner than later. And particularly that you want to start the process on before you even list your property, because otherwise you end up in awkward situations where, you're waiting around and we're unable to, close on the deal, or we have to create some sort of rental agreement in the meantime, that sort of thing, right? So especially right now, when things are taking a little bit more time with granting of probate, just something to factor in for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to give it a little example, but we're going to let you go. Murray, you have anything before we let Sarah go? She's busy. She's
so much.
Always busy.
Like I probably could have sat here and you probably could have talked for like an hour and we'd have like lots of stuff we didn't know that we.
Yes, for sure. No, this was great.
We'll have you back on. You want to come back?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'll come back. I feel like there was so much that we didn't even touch. We didn't even scrape the surface. So I'll come back as many times as you guys would like me to. And again, thanks so much for having me. Always a pleasure being in your company. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.
You too.
Yes, you as well, Sarah. Thanks again.
Take care.
So Murray, again at the during the show here, I think it's great that we always give our viewers examples of what you and I see. Exactly what Sarah was talking about there when it came to the power of attorney. And from my own experience, I had a property that I knew that was coming up. The family members, there was 2 family members that were going to be power of attorney. We went ahead and we did all the listing information. I took pictures. We had marketing ready to go. I did teasers. The sign was ordered. Now, it was not Sarah, and I will not mention another lawyer and names and stuff like that, but the loss of communicate or the lack of communication and understanding of how difficult this is, like Sarah was talking about, I cannot list the property. Yeah. So it put a halt to everything that we had to hold off on a month. Now that came very close to the end of the fall market. So that caused a lot of things. Now, for the viewers out there, just to give a little bit more information about it then is, once the POA, the power of attorney, was allowed to go ahead and put the house up for listing, what we as realtors have to do is, we cannot give possession to the new buyer until probate is granted. So you may run into a situation where you see a house on the market that is an estate sale, the seller is a POA. You can purchase the home. You can purchase the home right away. But possession might not be, like Sarah said, it could take months. And that's what mine actually. We sold the house mid-November. The people were not allowed to move in until March 1st.
Yeah.
So if that's not understood and communicated, that could cause a lot of ripples in people's lives. So understanding that and really doing your homework. And I'm so glad that Sarah touched on that. So it's something to think about for sure.
Well, I had the same thing this summer with one client. We were selling the estates. He was executor. There was no power of attorney. His brother actually, I believe, had everything, but his brother passed away. So it all came down to him. And it's right in the heart of the summer where everyone's going on vacations. We're trying to get probate done. And it took 2.5 months pretty much, right? And so we didn't even list the house until we could, because the lawyer just didn't want us to. She's like, guys, there's no point. You're just going to have a bunch of nightmares to deal with. So we just waited. And once we had it, we listed, and great, that house sold in less than 24 hours for me. But still, it was a long time. And the client's sitting there paying all the bills for a house that he's not even, he wasn't even in province. So nothing he's even using, right? So.
Yeah, and I think it's important, and that's why Murray and I are here as realtors. When people go through a situation like that, and I've gone through it not only as a realtor, but also personally as well with a family member, and there's enough to worry about. There's enough stress, so many other things that you have to deal with. If you come to Murray and I and you're about to go down that road, that's what we're here for. We can help you along the way to make that part of what everything else that you're dealing with, we can make that part a lot easier and a lot smoother. So
that's what we're here for, 100%.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Hey, we're almost out of time, Murray, but I wanted to ask you, just because we're at a distance right here, did you get anything fun for an advent calendar? I know you're a big beer drinker. Did you get one of those beer ones?
No, I got some socks, but I didn't get an advent calendar this year. No, I did not get a beer advent calendar this year. I did get one last year, but I did not this year. No, did you?
So you're just going to hit up the LC every day for the next 20
minutes? My fridge is already pretty stocked, so I could just go there and pick a different one every day if I wanted. But last week and a half, I haven't had any because I can't,
that's
stuffed up and stuff other things. But no, it's you know what? But my wife custom made me one last year because the one at the LC's, it's very expensive, and I'm like, whatever. So she actually custom made me one for like a third of the cost, but it was really cool, and I really appreciated that she did that. So.
Cool. I got a gin one. Yeah. So I had some a little bit of rhubarb gin yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Got some pink gin waiting for me tonight. You said, is there a Jets game tonight?
Yes, there is a Jets game tonight. You can
drink gin.
I'll be thinking of you when I'm at the Jets game, but yeah, there you go.
Oh, thanks for rubbing it in. But anyways. No, excellent. All right. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Real-tor Talk. I really appreciate you guys going in. Check out the links below. We're going to let you guys know about us even more. Sara, if you ever have any legal questions, you could definitely give her office a call. Also, you saw I couldn't wait a whole half an hour. I already dived into it a little bit, right? Murray, what's their address again?
119 Regent Avenue West, and that's L'Arche Tova Cafe.
Fantastic. Great breakfast. Check out their fundraiser that they've got going on. And we'll see everybody soon.